Hello, good morning. This is Dhananjay, so faculty of the psychology. Today I am going to deal with health psychology related topics. So already it's a continuous process, a 6 days process. So which you people are listening. So in this we have today we'll discuss 2 units in the health psychology. That is, one is effects of the stress and another one is the coping mechanism. So 5 and 6 units. So previously you have learned about uh, previous classes sessions. So which in this we'll see what you have learned. So this is a psychology English medium. So in this is the health psychology related topics, health psychology. So I think it is in anyone have joined? No, nobody has joined. So though we'll continue. Today we will discuss about effects of stress. Do you know what is mean by stress? Stress is somewhat it is an somewhat it is also a mental illness. So day to day life will experience so many situations. So in that so many situations, first and foremost thing we experience stress is the first and foremost thing. So nowadays even children's also below up to age 1 2 years still children's also get stressed, getting anxiety on others. So if you get continuously this stress will get bad effect on our health. So here what is mean by stress and physical effects of the stress, psychological effects of the stress, effects of the stress on mental health. So why we are dealing with this? The stress will come. Anyhow, the stress will come, and it is directly impact on our mental health. So there are two types of the health. One is the physical health, and another one is the mental health. Mental health means it is somewhat dealing with the mind and mind. So physical health means it is a somewhat physical illness. So according to WHO definition, what is mean by health? It is a complete absence of physical and mental illness. So here, what is mean by health? Health is a complete absence of physical diseases and mental diseases. If these two will correct, the person will have good health. The person will have good health. So what is the behavioral effects of the stress? We'll see all this. According to prescribed book is book, you have book. So in that, according to that, we'll discuss. So nowadays, life is full of stress. Everybody is experiencing stress in day-to-day life. Stress has become our stress as a part of our lives. Nothing but stress is not we are not dividing. It is a part of our daily life, and we must all learn to deal with it. So day to day we are experiencing. So because of that, we must we must deal with stress. There is no another way. It is coming and we have to experience. So we have to deal, that's all. So dealing means, so after dealing we can how to control, how to deal. So the mechanism will, if we know mechanism, so somewhat we can not exhibit our stress on upon others. So today we have fear of coronavirus, fear of accidents, fear of exams. Huh? So it is during the COVID 2019, it has created stress worldwide. Not only here, during the pandemic, all the country to the worldwide, the stress is experienced. The created stress worldwide. Worldwide also, we are seeing the stress is experienced, and China and America, and also so, not only one part, among all the parts of the world, not a country. So humanity is in the grip of imbalance. Here we can see there is an imbalance. There is an imbalance due to the scare of death. So we have all fear when it will come, death. So there is an in those days, in this time, 2019, 2020, and 21 up to 22 also. So there is a rapid deaths whenever the person will get COVID, and they will develop an a breathing problem, and decrease the immunity levels in the body. Huh? So automatically, whenever the person will taking into hospital, in the traveling only, he will be die. So like that situation we have seen, directly seen and experienced in somewhat. Huh? So hey, the phone and the phone చూడు. ఇంకా ఆ phone phone చూడు. So so this has what we had observed, huh, in the earlier, huh, dealing with this deadly disease all over the worldwide. So that we have experienced. Anyhow, we are live today because of we have lot of immunity. Huh? We have overcome that COVID pandemic. Today we are live. Huh? At that time also we are all are experience the stress. Whenever we go, there is no going outside. The complete human interaction will be banned. So because of this, that is in the situation. The stress is a natural physical and mental reaction to a life experiences. What is mean by stress? The stress is a natural. It will come naturally. Natural physical and mental reaction to the life experiences. Maintenance of the life is critically dependent on keeping our internal values and contacts in the face of changing environment, which is called homeostasis. The styles used them, the term is stress, to perform the effects of any event and serious threatens homeostasis. This is called the stress. Stress is a natural physical and the mental reaction to the life experiences. Day to day, we are experiencing so many life experiences. So, in that, it is in physical and mental reaction. Huh? So, during these experiences, we exhibit physical reactions and mental reactions. So that we call the stress. So the actual and the perceived threats to the organism is referred to a stress. If anyone uh, uh, getting this, the actual perceived threat to an organism referred to as a stressor, and the response to the stressor is called the stress response. So although stress response involved as a adaptive process, it was observed in the severe prolonged stress response might lead to tissue damage and also the diseases. It will comes continuously. What will happen? It will affect prolonged stress. What is the response? Might lead to tissue damage. All we have the tissues in our body, so that బాడీలో ఏదైతే ఉందో ద టిష్యూ విల్ బి तो अपन का बॉडी में the tissue damage होता, so like that the disease will develop. So because of prolonged stress leads this type of complications. So because of that we have to control the our stress. The stress become one of the serious health concern around the global. It is not one individual person health problem. So it is a concern around the global. It is a global scenario. Serious health concern around the global. And also stress is proven as a determinal effects on the physical and mental health. So already we have learned the stress determine effects on the physical. It shows directly impact on the physical health and also the mental health. So and also stress has a negative effects upon our sense of well-being, and also the significant risk factors. Several diseases, stress response compromises several psychobiological parameters. So like this the stress will affect on our day-to-day life. It is a combination of the biological changes and physiological damages, uh, and the physically damages conditions. Stress is a process which environmental damages. Stress also organism adaptive capability, resulting in the both physiological damages as well as the biological changes. It could be placed at a risk of illness. Lastly, it will place uh, in our body, that is an illness. So physical effect stress we can see in this. So you can see in one figure in your book, that's page number 54. So effects of the stress. So we can see in stress. So in our body there are the several components are there. One is body is there, one is mind is there, one is behavior, one is the emotions. So Dini, how we can elaborate? So please see this. In the body, if a person, stress person will experience all these effects in the body. So how it affects, we can see effects of the stress. So in the body, headache. Stress will produce headache, uh, taut muscles. The muscles will stiffness, frequent interactions, muscular muscular and muscular twitches, and the skin irritation, breathlessness, and fatigue. Fatigue means it is a one condition of not doing any work. Huh? So it is a inability to do perform any work. Huh? So body needs some rest. So mind will experiences these conditions: worrying, So day-to-day life, if a stress means worrying, what happens, how to go, how to deal, like that. Huh? Muscle thickness, impaired judgment, nightmares. So that is a loss of sleep. He will not get, if a person gets stress, will not get sleep during the night time. He will get some dreams or mirrors, huh? Like that, hasty decisions, negativity, and indications. So in the body, in the mind, we'll observe all these experiences. Those who person will get stress, he will experience this type of symptoms in the mind. So another one is behavioral symptoms. What are the behavioral symptoms of the this stress? Smoking more. So if a person will get more stress, what will he do? He smoke more, quite normal. So previously he will took 1 or 2 cigarettes per day. So if a frequently he get stress, he will took one box, 10 or 20 or more than that. So like that, restlessness we can observe, we can see, and also insomnia, loss of sexual drive. If a person had say stress, he will lose his sexual drive. He had no sexual drive because of already he is exhibiting stress. So drinking more will took alcohol, cigarettes, huh? What are the others like that? Loss of appetite. So we can see loss of appetite also. There is no appetite in this. Uh, this we can observe. So this is the symptoms we can observe in the behavior. A person behavior we can see in this behavior. Those who facing stress in their life. So emotions. So we can see in some emotions. Huh? So loss of confidence, more fussy, and irritability and anxiety, alienation, depression, apathy. Huh? So we can see in these effects. So we can see in 4 effects on a person in his body, mind, and also behavior, and also the emotions. These 4 we can see in stressful person's body. Stressful person body low, we can see in this type of symptoms. So musculoskeletal systems. So it will not no, it will affect some systems also. That is when the body is stressed, the muscle tense up. Whenever person will get stressed, the muscles automatically tense up, and muscle tension is almost a reflex reaction to the stress. Muscle tension means if a person got muscle tension means nothing but he had a stress. It is a symptom of the stress. So muscle tension is almost reflex reaction to the stress. The body way of creating the against the injury and the both. With a sudden onset of the stress, the muscle tense up all at once, and then release their tension. Then the stress pause, chronic stress cause muscles and body to become more less and content state of alertness. Muscles are stiff and tense for a long period of time. This may trigger other reactions of the body, even promote stress related disorders like migraine. So some will get, if you get more stress continuously, huh, that will leads to migraine headache, huh, pain in shoulders, neck, and body ache. Okay, body also will get some, even though they are not get any injury, but body will producing some aches and muscle tension, eventually leading to muscle atrophy due to the disuse of the body. So we can see musculoskeletal systems low. We can see in this type of uh, uh, symptoms, and also the respiratory system. So respiratory system supplies oxygen to the all. You know what is the main function of the respiratory system? It supplies oxygen to the all the body, means cells. Cell is a primary structure huh, of an organ. So and removes the carbon dioxide. What will happens here? Huh? It will supply oxygen to the body parts, body organs, body low cells are present. Huh? So and collect the carbon dioxide from the body, and air comes it through the nose and goes through the larynx and the throat. This is the passage of the oxygen from nose. It will goes to larynx, throat, then down through the trachea, uh, and enters into the lungs and also the bronchi. The bronchi then transfer the oxygen to red blood cells for circulation. So this is the mechanism of the respiratory system. The stress and the strong emotions can persist with a respiratory symptoms such as shortness of the breath. A person will get stress, so we can observe shortness of the breath or the rapid breathing. We can observe two symptoms. One is the shortness of the breath, and another one is the rapid breath, as a airway between the nose and the lungs construct the respiratory diseases such as asthma, and also the chronic obstructions of the pulmonary diseases and the chronic bronchitis, like that. We can see this. And also the cardiovascular system. This is the, what is mean by cardiovascular vascular system? Huh? It is a pumping of the blood to the body parts, heart and the blood vessels comprise the two elements of the cardiovascular system that work together and provide the uh, nourishment and also the oxygen to the organs of the body. The activity of these two elements is also coordinated in the body response huh, to the stress. So acute stress or short term, such as meeting dealing, being the struggle traffic, suddenly breaks and answer. So we can see in accident cases, increase in the heart rate and the strong contractions of the heart muscles. So if a person get stress experience, chronic stress experiences the prolonged period of the time, can be contributed to the long-term problems like blood vessels, heart blood vessels, and also the consist of the ongoing increase in the heart rate. We can observe those who get more stress. We can see in the increasing the heart rate, huh? Elevated the stress hormones, and the blood pressure increase can take total body on the body. These long term ongoing stress can increase the risk of hypertension and the heart attack and also the stroke. So because of that, the stress is not correct. So and also the endocrine system also will affect. So some perceived stress situations also. So hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is the primary drive to of the endocrine stress responses, This ultimately results in an increase in the production of steroid hormones called the glucocorticoids, which increase the cortisol, the often refers to a stress hormone. So whenever we get stress, the cortisol will release, and cortisol is a stress hormone. So that stress hormone, it is not correct. If it continuously it will release, so the body will get damaged like that. The stress and the health. So glucocorticoids included in the cortisol are important for the regulating the immune system and the regulating the inflammation. Huh? While in this is a valuable during the stressful and threatening situations where the injury might result. It increases the immunity system and activation of the chronic stress and can result impaired communication between the immune system and also the HPA axis. So uh, gastrointestinal system also, esophagus, trach, and bowls. So this will also more affect huh? Because of the stress. Stress may causes pain, bloating, and nausea, huh? Stomach discomfort, vomiting, huh? Bowels also causing pain, and also the bloating discomfort easily. Bowels, it can affect the how quickly. Huh? This also central nervous system also, CNS also will affect. So CNSL means central nervous system. The nervous system has several uh, divisions. That is the central division involving the brain. Central nervous means brain, spinal cord, huh? And then the peripheral divisions consisting of autonomic and the automatic nervous system. It is autonomically nervous system. System has direct role in the physical response stress and also divided into sympathetic nervous system. So parasympathetic nervous system, when the body is stressed, the SNS uh, contributing to what no fight or response. So it automatically improves. Immune system also will affect. So immunity also will decrease, but over a time, the stress hormones will wake up the immunity systems and reduce the body response to the foreign invaders. What is immunity system? Immunity means whenever the foreign particles will come into the body, so these immunity system will fight against that pathogens and they kill, they destroy. So a person will get more stress. So what will happen is it reduces the body response to the foreign invaders. Foreign invaders, they were not recognized. The people under the chronic stress more susceptible to viral infections like flu and the common cold and as well as other infections. So like these symptoms will happen. They will not recognize. A person will get continuous flu, common cold, and as well as also other infections also. The sexuality and reproductive system. The stress is existing for for both body and mind. So it is a stress is experiencing body and also the mind. If a body feels stress, the mind also feels stress. It is a common to lose sex drive uh, when one is under constant stress. While the short-term stress may cause men to produce more of the male hormone testosterone, but in this effect does not last. Huh? So if a person will not get this testosterone hormone, if a person will get testosterone hormone, huh, they will perform the sexual feelings or sex. So the testosterone hormone level will be decreases. So this is a dysfunction. So it can interferes with the sperm production and also the causing the critical dysfunction and also the impotency. finally what will happen? It is an important scene. Huh? So there is no matter. So chronic stress may also increases risk of infections for male reproductive organs like prostate and also the testes. For women, stress can affect menstrual cycle. In women, the menstrual cycle will be impaired, menstrual cycle will be affected. It can lead to irregular uh, and heavier or more pain periods. So it can mean the irregular periods and as a heavier and also the more painful periods. The chronic stress can causes uh, disturbances in pregnancy and also the uh, magnify the physical symptoms of the menopause also. So person will get in the early only they will get menopause. Menopause is nothing but the stopping of the uh, menstrual cycle. So these are the sexual and reproductive system problems because of the stress. The psychological effects of the stress. So it is a lot of impact on the body. The stress is a feeling of the strain or the pressure. What is mean by stress? It is a strain or pressure. So stress is a type of psychological pain. Small amounts of stress may be desired. Small amount can be desired, but beneficially and evenly healthy. So positive stress helps improve performance and facilitates adaptation. The positive psychology stress can lead to motivation and challenges instead of anxiety. The stress is extremely useful for productivity lifestyle huh? because it makes working enjoyable instead of chore and seen with disease. A stressor is any event, experience, or environmental uh, stimulus that cause stress in an individual. These events or experiences perceives like this is an stress. Huh? So we can see these uh, psyche is a human faculty for thought, judgment, and emotions. So the mental life, including the both conscious and unconscious process of the mind in its totality. The psychological stress affects thoughts, judgments, and emotions. So these will affect the emotions. All types of emotions built up almost instantly, and negative feeling difficult to control and can burst out suddenly and unexpectedly. Thoughts means one of the psychological effects. Stress can be sometimes negative thoughts and the thoughts that can evoke emotional response. Judgments means emotions, thoughts, and the judgments influence our actions, behavior. The most common long-term psychological effects, stress, and given below this anxiety, restlessness, uh, appear, lack of motivation, focus, irritability, anger, depression. So, like this, we can observe. So, because of that, to control the uh, stress is important. Effects of the stress on mental health. So, you can see whenever the body is constantly uh, highlighted the state of arousal, it causes the disturbances in the mental health function. It bombarded with the stress hormones. It can lead to tension and anxiety. Research in the psychophenomenological suggested by ways in the immunity systems and also the central nervous system, which can impact people emotional and the mental health. The chronic stress can lead to the uh, extra bit mood like this. So ideal stress and bipolar disorder, stress and the anxiety disorder, stress and the coping functions. So stress, if it continuously happens, the stress hormones in the body may alter the operations and the structures of the some aspects of the nervous system. So continuous, if a person will get experience the stress, uh, so it will leads to it will alter the operations and the structures, some parts aspects of the nervous system. So more specially, stress hormones may decreases the functioning of the nerves. So where it presents in the brain cells in the region of the brain known as the hypothalamus. It directly inhibit the neurons activity. So brain known as the hypothalamus. So this where it is in the frontal lobes as a part of the brain that it is necessary for the paying attention and filtering and irrelevant information, and also the using the judgment to solve the problems. So in this part they perform all these functions, these nerves will be. So hypothalamus where it is present in the frontal lobe. So they will not perform these actions. The people who are chronically stressed may experience the confusion. So if a person will get chronically experience the stress, he will get confused, difficulty concentrating, trouble learning new information, and also the problems with the decision making. So stress personality changes. So it will affect on the personality changes also. The term personality is used to describe consist of individual patterns of the thoughts. So the emotions, behavior, and characterized each person's across time and situations. Some people experienced uh, personality changes in the response to stress hormones. Stress is a central concept in understanding both health and illness. So there are many ways to cope with it. First and foremost, we need identify signs and symptoms huh, in the figure below. So psycho uh, intervention to prevent the illness. So like this, so it will affect all the. So many findings are many researchers and many studies are proven uh, prove there is a direct impact stress and illness. So here some of the recent findings by Cohen et al. In 2016 so reveal a link as to how stress operates at the biological level, causing a wide range of diseases like heart disease, metabolic syndromes, and type 2 diabetes, and certain types of disability, even early death also happen. So prime aspects. So the researcher, you can go through like this link between the stress and illness. These are the some studies are shown during this time: heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, muscle tension, So digestion, metabolic, and the immunity system all return to normal. So after getting stress, if a person will not experience the stress, so these will come normal state. So because of reducing stress is more important. So acute stress and chronic stress, what are the effects? You can go through once all these. So which has already described in your hmm, book. So this is regarding the stress. Is you need to control your stress. Otherwise, you have to experience all the aspects which already we have discussed. So for this only, uh, so what happens means, so another unit is coping with stress. It is most important. If we neglect to reduce stress, uh, will develop all the problems. So here is the what is the nature of coping, coping mechanism, types of coping, ways to coping. So there are the approach avoidance coping model, approach focused coping model, emotional focused coping strategies, problem focused coping strategies, solution focused coping strategies. So so already we have discussed this one. So stress is an integral part of our life. So everyone is experiencing stress at a some time or the other. Huh? Will experience all the from children to adult also, old age also. So stress is a reaction, the situation where the person feels threatened or anxious. Stress occurs when a person feels overwhelmed and unavailable cope with life demands. It is a lack of life demands will exhibit that stress. Huh? So already we have discussed this definition. What is meant by stress, and here we'll see the nature of the coping. Nature of the coping. Coping with the stress is a process by which person consciously attempt to more and minimize or tolerate stressor and the problems in life. So how to deal with stress? This coping occurs in a context of life changes that are perceived to be stressful. Coping involves adjusting to or tolerating negative events. So you have to tolerate the negative impact. So realities of the life while attempting to maintain emotional equilibrium and the positive self image. Coping with stress is an adaptive response to demands which are apprised exceed. So in this we can means coping response term. The coping with stress means including the different psychological processes and active different psychological processes and activities. So attention process such as uh, uh, vigilance and respect we can see. So definition here remains Folkman and Lazarus given a different definition for this coping. Coping is a constantly changing cognitive and behavioral effects to manage specific external and internal demands that are appraised as an taxing. The coping is an activity to seek and apply solution to the stressful situation. Coping is nothing but it is an activity to seek or apply solution to a stress situations. So in the stress situations, we have to apply some strategy. By this, we can overcome that stress. Coping is a coping mediates between antecedent stressful events and also the distressing consequences. So they will act mediator between these two. huh? That is an between antecedent of stressful event and distressing consequences, where it will come and compromise these two. The coping strategies are physiological patterns that individual use manage. uh, in this physiological pattern we can see in feelings actions encountered during the various stressful situations. Coping strategies reflect the uh, reprioritizing of the response such as the stress and the individuals as uh, available can useful successfully. So in this coping style is influenced by the attribute style incorporating perceiving of the sources of the stress, locus of the control, optimistic and pessimistic outlook, and the personality characteristics, coping skills can be conceptualized as a combination of the coping styles. So in this, we can see in coping styles is in to manage conforming a stressful situation and dealing with it. And there are the three basic coping styles. One is the task oriented coping styles, and then the emotional oriented coping styles, and avoidance oriented coping styles. The task oriented coping styles consisting of effects aimed to solve the problems. In this, they focus on the main task oriented means they focus to solve the problem. If we get one, if we face one problem, if we solve that problem, we'll not get stress. So if we not solve that problem, we may face stress. So task oriented coping style focus on solving of the problem. So by this, what happens? The stress will be resolved. So emotion oriented coping involves the emotional reactions. They control the emotional reactions of the body. So by there, uh, the stress will be reduced. So third one is the evident oriented coping mechanisms. It involves the activities and the conditions aimed to avoiding the stressful situation. So, in what it suggests, it directly suggests to avoid the stressful situations. So, don't enter in that stressful situations. So, by that, the person will not get stressed. So, and can be of a distraction or the social diversion nature. It is nothing but distraction, the diverting, and also the social diversion nature. So these two, three will reduce the stressor in the person. The coping mechanisms or the strategies people often use in the face of the stress or trauma to help manage painful or difficult emotions. Coping mechanism can be help people adjust to stressful events while helping them to maintain their emotional well-being. The significant life events, whatever positive or negative can be, can cause uh, significant events, whatever it may be positive or negative, can cause the psychological stress. So, difficult events such as the divorce, miscarriage, loss of job, these will create stress in an individual. What are they? These are the events such as a divorce. If a person get divorced, they will get stress and miscarriage. Huh? So miscarriage means she had a pregnant or loss of job. If a person can lost their job, can cause most of the people feel grief and distress. In this situation, they feel grief and distress, but even that they are considered positive and also the getting married, having the child, or buying a home can also lead to significant amount of stress. Already they are involving all these activities, by that they will get the stress. To adjust these stressor, people may utilize a common combination of thought thoughtful emotional and behavioral strategies to deal with the stress. So they will use the combination of thoughts, emotions, and behavioral strategies. If they adapt, huh, the stress will decrease. They use coping mechanism, the stress management, and to cope with anger, tolerance, and anxiety, depression. Hmm? So like this. Huh? Uh, So difference between the coping mechanism and defense mechanisms. So coping mechanisms are the conscious purposeful. They are the conscious and purposeful. These are used to manage the external situation that is creating problem. So directly they focus on the way the problem is arising. They control that, they manage the situation and the create problem. The individual will feel less stressor. So defense mechanism is most it will happen in the consciously. So defense mechanisms mostly occur at an unconscious level. There are the three types of minds are there: conscious mind, unconscious mind, and subconscious. So the people are generally aware that they are using them. Defense mechanisms can change a person's internal psychological state. So here we'll see types of the coping. Coping can be active or avoidant. Active coping involves an awareness of the stressor. So how many types of adaptive coping techniques? That is the support. Support means taking about the stressful event with a supportive person can be effective to way effective ways to manage stress. Problem means identify the problem that causing the stress and develop some potential solutions. Every problem has some solutions are there. At that time we are not getting that solutions, so we need to seek some expert suggestions. We can overcome. So or a problem we can identify other solutions. So there is no only one solution is not for one problem. There are the many other solutions are there. You may think one way, I may think one way, others may think another way. The potential solutions for effectively manage it. So maladaptive coping will reduce symptoms while maintain the strengthening the disorder. Maladaptive techniques are ineffective and counterproductive. Maladaptive coping may work for short term but not effective for the long term. These maladaptive coping mechanisms will work in short term period only. It will not work a long term period. So maladaptive coping techniques. One is the escape. Escape means escape is the closely related to avoid the situations. Avoiding. The technique is used to feel from the anxiety and provoke situations. In these two situations, we can adopt this escape technique. By this, we can reduce our stress. Huh? So, second one is unhealthy and self-soothing. Examples are overwhelming, uh, binge, binge drinking, and excessive use of internet or video games. Unhealthy self-soothing. And we can use these also. ఓవర్ ఈటింగ్ ఎక్కువ తినమని చెప్తున్నాడు, బింగ్ డ్రింకింగ్, సో ఎక్సెసివ్ యూజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్నెట్ ఆర్ వీడియో గేమ్స్. సో these are the unhealthy. If we use regularly continuously, they'll produce some harmful effect. These effects are these techniques are not healthy. So తర్వాత last one is the self harm. Engaging in the self harm behavior to cope external trauma. So if a self harm అనేది కూడా we can adapt. So this is ways of the coping. Coping లో we have approach evidence coping model and also consistent coping styles, approach avoidance coping styles, coping with stress. You can see in this one, this figure in the page number of 73. So there are the many other ways of the coping with stress as illustrated in the figure. Ways of the coping with stress. Coping with stress means biofeedback, meditation, or relaxation, or physical exercise, or social support. So biofeedback means using thought process to uh, control a physiological response. Biofeedback, if a person biofeedback ఇచ్చుకుంటూ, so what he do using the thought process, he will control the physiological response. Physiological arousal ఏదైతే ఉందో, so దాన్ని he will control. So meditation and relaxation, so a deeply relaxed state reduce the psychological and physiological tension. So inhalation, deep breathe and deep exhalation. Meditation means focusing in the breathing, huh? How it is come inside and uh, going outside. So if we practice, we can reduce, we can control our stressor situations. Physical exercise is engaging the physical activity. Social support means helping assistance from the other people, those who are experts, or those are um, our neighbors or colleagues or well wishers. uh, they give some um, social support. So coping strategies, so these are the approach focused coping, which is adaptive, it is a cognitive. So emotion focused, which is an adaptive and effective. Problem focused, which is a behavioral and consistent. These we can see. Huh? Emotional focused techniques, referring ఇవన్నీ ఒకసారి you can observe, you can see. Some of the some types of the coping skills are given in the page number 76. Huh? So this is a self-soothing, distraction, opposite action, so emotional awareness, mindfulness, crisis plan. So crisis ni how to deal crisis, mindfulness ని ఏ విధంగా చూసుకోవాలి. సో దే ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ సమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆల్సో. సో go through once, so if you can easily understand. So these are the two topics today we have covered, that is the stress and coping with stress. So uh, go through according to your university book as given. So once you read and understand, I have already briefly explained what is how to cope with stress. So if you read once, so we'll explain all these two in the brief, so that you may help. Okay. Uh, Okay. After this, we can conclude. Remaining will. ఒక నిమిషం ఇది కంట్రోల్ చేస్తా.